Welcome to the world of science fiction where extraordinary tales come to life. Enjoy the journey. The ship's alarms screamed as Kael wrestled with the controls, his breath fogging in the freezing air. Outside the view screen, the planet Nyxara loomed. A sphere of jagged glaciers and howling storms. His escape pod had barely survived the crash. And now, shadowy figures advanced through the snow, their armor glinting like diamond shards. So this is how humanity ends, he thought. Not in war, not in glory, but alone, on a frozen rock at the edge of the galaxy. The Nyxarans dragged him through corridors of blue ice, their grip unyielding. Kael's thermal suit was failing, his fingers burned with frostbite. They threw him before a throne carved from a single glacier, where Queen Veyra sat, her silver eyes piercing the gloom. "You are the last." Her voice was a whisper of winter wind. Kael lifted his chin. "The last free human, yeah." She stood, her gown swirling like a blizzard. "Your species is a relic. Weak, warm." The word was a curse. Yet when she raised a hand to order his execution, Kael didn't flinch. Something flickered in her gaze. Doubt. Curiosity. "Wait," she murmured. "I want to see how long he lasts in the cold." The court gasped. No prisoner had ever been spared. As guards hauled him away, Kael smirked. "Game on, Ice Queen." Kael woke in a cell of ice, his breath forming clouds in the dark. The walls hummed with a deep, unnatural cold. Nyxara's way of reminding prisoners they were nothing but prey in this empire. The door slid open without a sound, and two armored guards loomed over him. "Queen's orders," one growled, yanking him up by his collar. "You faced the trial of shattered frost." Kael's stomach tightened. He'd heard whispers from other captives. This was where Nyxara's enemies died screaming. They dragged him through winding tunnels, deeper into the planet's frozen heart, until they reached a massive cavern. Above, jagged icicles hung like teeth, and below, a circular arena of black ice pulsed with eerie blue light. The stands were packed with Nyxaran nobles, their silver eyes gleaming in anticipation. At the highest balcony, Queen Veyra sat, draped in a cloak of living frost. She didn't smile. She didn't blink. She simply watched. A horn sounded. The guards shoved Kael forward, and the crowd roared. The first test, the glacier maw. The ice beneath him trembled. Then, crack, a fissure split the arena, and from its depths a creature emerged. It was a Jormar, a beast of Nyxaran legend, a serpent of living ice, its body a shifting mass of razor-sharp plates. Its maw gaped, revealing rows of translucent fangs. Kael had no weapons, no armor, just his fists and the thermal suit barely keeping him alive. The Jormar struck. He rolled, barely avoiding its lunge. The crowd hissed in disappointment. Think like a human." He spotted a broken icicle nearby, snapped it off, and held it like a dagger. When the beast lunged again, he jammed the shard into its eye. The Jormar shrieked, thrashing. Kael didn't hesitate. He grabbed another icicle and drove it into the creature's throat. Silence. Then the crowd erupted, not in cheers, but in furious whispers. No one had ever killed a Jormar barehanded. Veyra's fingers tightened on her throne. The second test, the whispering frost. Before Kael could catch his breath, the arena changed. The ice beneath his feet turned to mist, and suddenly he was sinking. The trial of whispering frost. A hallucinogenic gas seeped from the ground, twisting his mind. Visions clawed at him. Memories of Earth burning, his squad dying, the last transmission from humanity's fleet before static swallowed it whole. "You failed them," the frost whispered. "You should have died with them." Kael gritted his teeth. Nice try. He focused on one thing, heat, the memory of a campfire, the feeling of sunlight on his skin, the warmth of another human's hand. The mist recoiled. The crowd gasped as Kael emerged, staggering but unbroken. The Queen's curiosity, Veyra stood abruptly. Enough. The arena fell silent. She descended the steps, her cloak trailing frost in her wake. The nobles parted like a frozen sea as she approached Kael. Up close, she was even more terrifying. Her silver skin shimmered with an inner light, and her breath didn't fog in the cold. She was made for this world. And yet, "You should be dead," she said softly. Kael wiped blood from his lip. "Yeah, I get that a lot." For the first time, something flickered in her eyes. Not anger, not disdain. Interest. "The trial isn't over," she murmured. "But I will watch you myself." The noble stiffened. This was unprecedented. Kael smirked, flattered. She didn't smile back, but she didn't order his death either. The third test, the frozen heart. The final trial wasn't physical. Veyra led him to a chamber deep beneath the palace, where a massive, pulsing crystal of ice glowed in the center. "The heart of Nyxara," she said. "It judges the worth of all who stand before it." Kael frowned. "What's it gonna do? Ask me riddles?" "Worse." She placed a hand on the crystal. "It will show you the truth." The room vanished. Kael was no longer in the palace. He stood on a dying world. Nyxara. But not as it was now. The skies burned. The glaciers wept. And in the center of it all, a shadow loomed, a beam of pure cold devouring the planet's warmth. "This is our fate," Veyra's voice echoed. "Unless you can stop it." Kael's blood ran cold. The vision shattered. He was back in the chamber, gasping. Veyra watched him, her expression unreadable. "Well?" she asked. Kael exhaled. "You're screwed." A beat of silence. Then she laughed. A sharp, startled sound, like ice cracking under sudden heat. The entire court froze. No one had ever heard the Ice Queen laugh. Kael expected chains, a dungeon, maybe another trial. Instead, Veyra led him to her private chambers, a vaulted room of frosted glass and silver, where the walls shimmered with embedded crystals. A fire burned in the hearth, though its flames were pale blue, giving no warmth. "Sit," she commanded, gesturing to a chair carved from glacial bone. Kael eyed it. "You sure I won't freeze my ass off?" She didn't laugh this time, but her lips twitched. "The material is insulated." He sat. It was cold. Veyra paced, her cloak whispering against the ice. "The heart showed you what plagues us." "Yeah, a shadow eating your planet." Kael leaned forward. "What is it?" She hesitated. Then, "A frostborn," she said softly. "An ancient parasite. It feeds on heat, on life. It has slept beneath our glaciers for millennia. Now, it awakens." Kael frowned. "And your people just let it." Her fingers clenched. "They do not know. The frostborn whispers to the high lords, promising power. They think it is a god." A chill ran down Kael's spine. "And you?" Veyra met his gaze. "I think it is a cancer. The library of frozen echoes." To prove it, she took him deeper into the palace, to a place no outsider had ever seen. The library of frozen echoes, shelves of ice-held tablets carved with glowing runes. Veyra pulled one down, and the symbol shimmered to life, projecting a hologram of Nyxara's past. "See." The image showed a thriving world, glaciers, yes, but also rivers of liquid silver, forests of crystalline trees. Then the frostborn emerged. The rivers froze. The forests shattered. "It weakens our core," Veyra said. "Soon, the planet will be a tomb." Kael exhaled. "And you can't just stab it." "If it were that simple, I would have." She scowled. "The frostborn is tied to Nyxara's heart. To kill it, we must melt the core." Kael blinked. "That sounds like a terrible idea." "It is." Her voice dropped. "But you are warm." A beat. Kael groaned. "Oh, hell no." The High Lord's betrayal. Before she could explain, the doors burst open. Lord Krith, Veyra's most trusted advisor, stood flanked by armed guards. His silver eyes gleamed with malice. "Your Majesty," he hissed, consorting with the enemy. Veyra's hand flew to the dagger at her belt. "You overstep, Krith. The Frostborn speaks through me now." His smile was jagged. "It says you are unfit." The guards advanced. Kael moved on instinct. He grabbed a frozen tablet and hurled it, not at the guards, but at the ceiling. The ice shattered. A cascade of razor-sharp shards rained down, forcing the attackers back. Veyra didn't hesitate. She lunged, her dagger finding Krith's throat. He gasped, frost spreading from the wound. The Frostborn will freeze the stars. Then he was dead. Silence. Veyra turned to Kael. "Now you see." He nodded. "We're screwed." But not defenseless. She grabbed his wrist. "Come." The Forge of Embers. They fled to the Undercity, where the air reeked of sulfur and the walls dripped with melted ice. The Forge of Embers, a forbidden place where Nyxara's last remnants of heat were kept. A hunched figure emerged from the shadows. Auric, an exile with skin like cracked magma. "Queen Veyra," he rasped, "you finally grew a spine." She ignored the jab. "We need the Ignis core." Auric's eyes flicked to Kael. "For him?" "Yes." The old smith laughed. "Then the Frostborn really is waking." He shuffled to a vault, unlocking it with a drop of his own blood. Inside pulsed a red gem, radiating warmth. Kael recoiled. "That thing's alive." "In a way." Veyra took it carefully. "It is a fragment of Nyxara's original core, before the Frostborn came. It is the only weapon that can hurt it." Auric grinned. "If you don't melt yourselves first." The plan. Back in the library, Veyra laid out their suicide mission. "The Frostborn's physical form lies in the glacier maw beneath the palace. We must take the Ignis core there and shatter it." Kael crossed his arms. "And how do we get past your entire army?" She smirked. "We don't." A hologram flickered, a map of the palace's underbelly. A single path, marked in red. "The vein of fire," she said. "A molten channel. It will lead us straight to the maw." Kael stared. "You want us to swim through lava?" "No." Her eyes burned. "We run." The entrance to the vein of fire was a jagged crack in the palace's underbelly, exhaling heat like a dragon's breath. Kael wiped sweat from his brow. Already the air scorched his lungs. Veyra pressed the Ignis core into his hands. "Hold this. It will protect you." The gem pulsed, its warmth seeping into his skin. For the first time since landing on Nyxara, Kael didn't feel cold. She stepped to the edge, her silver cloak already singed. "Stay close. If you fall behind, you die." Kael smirked. Noted. They jumped. The run through hell. The vein wasn't lava. It was worse. A tunnel of superheated steam and molten rock, its walls glowing orange. Every footfall sent cracks spiderwebbing across the fragile ice bridges. Kael sprinted, the Ignis core a beacon in his grip. Behind him, Veyra moved like a blizzard, her frost magic freezing temporary footholds. Then, a roar. The Frostborn had sensed them. The tunnel shuddered. Ice stalactites rained down. One grazed Kael's arm, searing through his suit. He hissed, but kept running. Veyra grabbed his wrist. Faster. A section of the path collapsed into the fire below. Kael leaped. And slipped. Veyra's hand snapped out, catching him mid-fall. For a heartbeat, they dangled over the abyss, her grip the only thing between him and vaporization. Her eyes locked onto his. "Climb." He did. The glacier maw. They emerged in a cavern so vast its ceiling was lost in darkness. Below, a frozen lake stretched, its surface swirling with black tendrils, the Frostborn's physical form. At the lake's center stood a throne of ice, and on it sat another Veyra. Kael recoiled. "What the?" The real Veyra snarled. "Doppelganger. A puppet. The false queen stood, her smile splitting her face like a crack in glass. You brought warmth to my domain. It crooned in a voice like breaking glaciers. How? Treasonous. The lake surged. The battle of fire and ice. Kael didn't wait. He charged, the Ignis core blazing in his fist. The Frostborn's tendrils lashed out. One wrapped around his ankle, freezing his flesh black. He screamed but drove the core into it. The tendril screamed back, recoiling. Veyra fought like a storm, her daggers carving arcs of frost. But the doppelganger was relentless, matching her move for move. You cannot win, it taunted. You are ice, and ice breaks. Veyra faltered, just for a second. The doppelganger struck, its hand piercing her side. Veyra. Kael lunged, slamming the core into the false queen's chest. It exploded in a shower of shards. The lake boiled. The thaw. Silence. Veyra collapsed, her wound weeping silver blood. Kael crawled to her, pressing the core to the injury. It glowed, sealing the flesh. Her breath was ragged. Why? Did you save me? Kael laughed weakly. You dragged me into this. Her hand found his. Cold, but not as cold as before. The cavern trembled. The Frostborn wasn't dead, just wounded. Now what? Kael muttered. Veyra sat up, grimacing. Now, we melt a planet. The ground trembled as the Frostborn's tendrils retracted, coiling like wounded serpents. The false Veyra was gone, but the true enemy lurked beneath the ice. Kael helped Veyra stand, her weight leaning into him. The Ignis core pulsed between them, its heat biting against the unnatural cold. You said we have to melt the core, Kael said, voice rough. How? Veyra's breath fogged the air. The heart of Nyxara. It's the planet's last spark of warmth. We use the Ignis core to ignite it. Kael stared. You're talking about a controlled explosion. Yes. Inside a glacier. Her lips thinned. Do you have a better idea? He exhaled. Hell no. Let's go. The heart of Nyxara. They staggered back through the collapsing tunnels, the Frostborn's shrieks echoing behind them. The palace above was in chaos. Nyxaran soldiers clashed with high lords who had succumbed to the Frostborn's whispers. The heart chamber was worse. The great crystal, once radiant, now pulsed with black veins. The air smelled like rotting ice. Veyra pressed a hand to its surface. It's dying. Kael hefted the Ignis core. Then we wake it up. He slammed the core into the heart. For a second, nothing. Then, light. A shockwave of golden fire erupted from the crystal, racing through the veins in the floor, the walls, the ceiling. The Frostborn screeched, its tendrils thrashing as the heat reached it. The glacier groaned. Cracks split the palace above. The choice. Veyra grabbed Kael's arm. The melt will flood the lower levels. We have to go. Now. He didn't move. Your people. Her eyes flickered. They'll flee. The High Lords. Will blame you. Kael knew how this worked. You just blew up your own throne. She hesitated. Then, let them. She pulled him into a sprint as the chamber collapsed behind them. The escape. They burst onto the surface as the palace imploded, ice shards spiraling into the sky. The triple suns glared down, their light refracting through the steam. Nyxarans fled in every direction. Some screamed curses at Veyra. Others knelt. A soldier lunged at them, and was frozen mid-step by a whip of Veyra's magic. Enough. Her voice cracked like thunder. The Frostborn is gone. Nyxara is free. Silence. Then, one by one, weapons clattered to the ground. The new dawn. Kael expected chains. A trial. Exile. Instead, Veyra was given a ship. You're letting us go? Kael asked, wary. The elder who handed him the nav code sighed. The Queen's act saved us. But tradition cannot bend so far. She may return. one day. Veyra's jaw tightened, but she nodded. As they boarded, Kael caught her staring back at the crumbling spires. "You okay?" She touched the Ignis core, now dormant at her belt. "I feel warm." Then she turned her silver eyes to the stars. "Where now?" Kael grinned. "Wherever's next." Epilogue. The legend. On Nyxara, they tell of a queen who melted her own throne to save her people. On Earth's last colonies, they whisper of a human who walked into the ice and came back with fire. And in the dark between the stars, a ship drifts, its hull scarred by frost and flame. Two figures stand at the helm. One burns. The other learns how.